Arthur Schopenhauer was a 19th century German philosopher. In 1818, he wrote what is considered his most important work, a book called The World as Will and Representation. In chapter 68 of this book, Schopenhauer presents a very interesting argument for asceticism as an ideal way of life. Asceticism, the practice of self-denial for religious or spiritual purposes, may seem like an unlikely area of interest for someone like Schopenhauer. Schopenhauer is a philosopher, not a theologian. In fact, he's not religious at all. It may also not be clear what place asceticism has as a category or topic in the study of philosophy in general. Asceticism is rooted in religious belief, whereas philosophy is not. How does Schopenhauer manage to reconcile this apparent contradiction? And more importantly, why does he find it important to do so in the first place? What is it about the lives and experiences of the ascetics that Schopenhauer finds appealing? What problems does Schopenhauer think taking up an ascetic lifestyle would solve? Schopenhauer is first and foremost attracted to the apparent peace of mind that monks, saints, and other ascetics seem to enjoy. He thinks that they've gained access to this inner peace that is otherwise barred from ordinary people, non-ascetics. Schopenhauer wants to know what's the difference between an ascetic and an ordinary person, and he says that the difference has to do with the way in which an ascetic and an ordinary person understands their relationship with other people. Ordinary persons, Schopenhauer says, see themselves as separate from others. He calls this the principle of individuation. The ascetic, on the other hand, sees everyone as himself, sees everyone as one, doesn't see this separation. Thus, the ascetic is able to act from compassion, which is very important for Schopenhauer, because to act from compassion, according to his own philosophy of morals, is to be able to act from the highest, most moral motive. In fact, the only moral motive, as Schopenhauer sees it. Finally, because ascetics practice a deliberate denial of the will, as Schopenhauer describes it, they are freed from the thing which ordinary people are bound to, and which, on Schopenhauer's view, explains all the misery that we encounter in life. And this thing to which ordinary people are bound, that ascetics are freed from, is the drive to serve one's own needs and desires. Thus, asceticism for Arthur Schopenhauer promises a solution to the problem of misery, which stems from selfish interests. It promises an optimal mindset from which compassion can emerge. And it even seems to serve as the logical conclusion to Schopenhauer's own conception of the will. The will is the unifying principle of everything. And so the negation of the will through ascetic practices annihilates the will and thus ends this otherwise interminable cycle of suffering caused by self-interest, and so on and so on.